Right, welcome to another episode of the Three Wise. Fucked up. Not Three Wise Fools anymore, is it?
Is it not?
It's the Wise Fools podcast. Keep that in.
Yeah, keep that in.
Yeah, the Wise Fools podcast. So we decided to just, if people haven't got time to do anything, that whoever would turn up would do it.
Yeah.
So today it's me, Matt, John, and Rory.
Yeah.
And we are at Playbrew again.
Yes, we are.
Last time we came to Playbrew was just after lockdown, I believe, red hot, and we did a really good podcast, and they've invited us back today because Aaron, who we're going to speak to later on, he wants us and the brewery to get involved a lot more with doing things for men's mental health, and I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Off the grounder down here today with a little stall. It's Doggy Social Day, so if you hear some dogs bark in the background, that's where we're at, and that's it. So There's a few dogs in the house, but so Dan we're going to speak to later on. He's doing the Edinburgh Marathon for Mind charity, awesome, and he's got a bucket on his thing. I've already shot a couple of quid in.
Yep.
And I believe he'll tell us later, but I think his mate committed suicide a few years ago, so he's wanting to do something. And he said Mind's the first thing that comes up, but yeah, I think if anyone's doing anything for anyone, it doesn't matter what the charity is. I think it's good.
Like all the stuff we do, whenever I've done a little bit of charity, we raise money, but our group, it's a Facebook group. We've got no overhead, so we end up donating all the money to other other little charities in the area.
Go on then.
Right.
Promote it while you're on. You only may as well. You've started.
Yeah. Well, so we've done a little bit of. So my name's Rory. For those who haven't heard of me before, I'm part of the Borough Man campaign. But in my own time, I run a group called Find the Light. I forgot what it was called for a second there. And we've done a bit of...
I love that. I tell you what, if you're going to kill yourself, get in touch with Find the something. Find the... oh, it's too late.
Oh, not found it. It's lost.
It's too late.
Lost the light. And historically we've done some fundraising stuff this year. I'm in the middle of doing a year-long challenge, so... I've set myself 15 tasks. I'll never hit them all, that's not the point.
Are you going to name them all?
I'm going to try. So
go on.
It's daft things like... So there's 2 points to this whole yearly challenge, right? We know that mental illness, it fucking ravages you. It takes all your motivation away, and it makes you think everything's hopeless. Yeah. So for this year, I'm going to spend 1 year trying to do all the things I've wanted to do but not done before. So at the end of this year, on December 31st, I can look back and think, what a fucking year that was.
Right.
And it's things like... learn to do a kickflip on a skateboard. Daft stuff to start with, right? Yeah. Learn to bar spin on a BMX. Then it's things like hike all my camping gear up to the top of Hell Down in a camp for a night. One of them is do a body suspension.
What's that?
I don't know if you've seen it. It's
where you camp?
No. It's gruesome. So I'm into tattoos and piercings, and a body suspension is where they pierce your back with hooks.
Oh God!
I'll show you photos in a bit.
I tell you what, right, listen.
It's got a fetishy vibe about it.
Yeah, it's a good job Idris isn't here, because he's into his... He always once said we were sponsored by Pornhub for something that I said on there. Yeah. You've took it to another level now, Rory.
He's always... When I was on their podcast, he was talking about things as well.
No, mate.
Well, what is it then with hanging like that?
I don't want to know.
Is it the pain?
Yeah, so it's a lot of it's like to see if I can do it. It's a lot of people do it for the euphoria. It's supposed to be so fucking painful that you end up going past the pain. It's just the adrenaline dump is so intense.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll show you pictures in a bit.
I don't want to see them.
Okay.
I can imagine.
So
you're scarred by that?
I haven't done it yet.
Do you get scarred by it?
Oh, you will do, yeah. The hooks are like as thick as this cable.
I would now find plunging in cold water like quite
heaven.
Pleasurable. Yeah, heaven.
But no one looks at my back anyway. It's like...
Well, your lass will.
So, sometimes, yeah.
On
a weekend.
Forgive me, Rory.
On a weekend of birthdays.
That much pain. So what does that much pain wipe out so much other pain?
I think so.
Is that the thing?
I've always said there's things I used to do. Like I used to really be into going to like heavy pits at gigs, like proper heavy mosh pits, to the point where you just couldn't think. The same with kickboxing or jiu-jitsu. You couldn't think. So all of that logical like. Your brain's stewing on crap, it would just go away for a little bit, and this is maybe one of those, but yeah, it's all part of this year-long challenge to raise money, but the other things are things like get the sole of my foot tattooed,
most painful part of your body.
Yeah, get 50 piercings in one session.
Wow.
Where?
Wow. all up and down my arms and stuff. Like,
What, then they come back out?
Aye. I'm not going to like a key ring.
Hey, what? There's something wrong with you in there. What?
Aye, well, there's something wrong with all of us, that's why we're here.
It's like
It's probably
Dilwali celebration.
This is
Like
not a
in-
fetish
Yeah.
podcast, but it's like it's turned into a fetish podcast in an instant with Rory, Anna.
Well, no, it isn't fetishy. I will be in
I'm
leather.
only joking.
I'll be in leather and lace.
Oh, for fuck's sake. So, right, go on, what else?
Oh, God, I've totally
Does the
forgotten
pain
now.
get worse? Hang on, you've gone from flipping a skateboard.
Oh, that's the top end of it. I can't remember what those middle bits are. I competed in my first jiu-jitsu tournament.
Right.
Like, there's things I'll never be able to achieve in this year, but I'm going to try and do them all. So,
Do you know what, though, about things like that? I'm thankfully coming out the back end of probably the darkest time of my life. And I think when I look back at the week before Christmas to now, I don't know how I've got here. And I
Alright.
don't know how... Well, never ever... I vowed never ever to go back to that place again
Yeah.
because it was grim. But... And a lot of it is out my... Like, a lot of it was other people's work, not my
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, yeah.
Which is the worst of it. It's
Yeah.
not like I've done something that horrendous that I've put myself... It was like other people's stuff. But on about doing 15 things a year. So I did a talk on a first aid mental health course with Richie set it up for me, and I did it with Redcar and Cleveland Council. And someone asked me about how do you get through your days, and I said every day I set myself 5 little challenges, and if I do 2, I don't beat myself up about that anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I used to think, oh, fucking hell, like, but as long as you do 1 or 2, and the first one goes back to the podcast we did with Dean Windass about you get up and you make your bed. And you put your pillows on top.
that made a difference to me. Yeah, I'd do that, yeah.
And once you get up and put your pillows on top, you don't want to really spoil that bed. So you think, well, I've got to get up now.
Yeah.
That's 1. Next
Yeah.
one, what is it? And and what I'm finding as time goes on, I'm achieving 5 and more. So I keep like my walking at the minute with the dog. Like I'm doing loads, and I'm trying to hit 100 mile a month
Nice.
with work and everything
yeah.
else. I did 160 last month.
Jesus.
I know.
So does I'll say recovery or you're bouncing back? Does it happen naturally, or do these things that you're talking about actually contribute to coming out of the other side of something?
What do you mean? What things?
So, did these challenges you set yourself, did they aid your recovery or speed up
I
your
think they've
recovery?
had to because I've had to do something.
Yeah.
I've had to do something.
Because this is what interests me. It's like, well, how do you get?
It's a form of mindfulness,
What's
isn't it?
everyone's lowest point, and how the hell did you get yourself out?
My lowest point was the week before Christmas. I was up the hills, which is like every time I go there, I don't want to leave. I love it. And I won't go too grim, but it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. The next day, I woke up and I rang my boss at work and said, I need to speak to you. And I knew then I needed like serious help. And I was getting help, but it wasn't enough. And I knew then that I have to not change myself, because I just have to try and set myself some goals to get out of this shit. Like, I can't be in that mindset anymore. So, yeah, and it does help. Like, and I know people get obsessed with Strava and stuff, but like on Strava, every month I set myself, there's challenges on Strava you can do. So I do the 400k a month on the bike, which I very rarely hit. But this month I've done about 200 odd, a few really good bike rides. And the walking, I think the highest you can go is 50k a month, and within a week I've hit it normally.
So here's one for you. To interrupt it. So Rory gets the pain. What do you get from the exercise then?
It just helps me. It just the
There's
endorphins.
There's something about being in nature as well. It's good for your soul. When we did the podcast with Dr. Jones, not Indiana Jones, not that Dr. Jones.
Imagine.
Dr. Jones. She said there's something about being in nature and seeing a far distance that's really good for anxiety, because it's like a prehistoric thing. You can see there's no threats. So, like when we were cavemen, you'd see for a far distance, you'd know there was no wildebeests or whatever else. So, being in nature and being able to see a far distance, it's really good for anxiety. And just being in nature feels awesome.
Well, it's like last night I was walking and I was with someone and I stopped and she said, "What are you doing?" I just said, "There's just a bird I haven't heard before." Like a right weird or... And I couldn't see it. And I think now I appreciate, and I always have appreciated nature, but now I know I get it now. I fully get it.
Well, there's two psychologists, famous psychologists. So you got the Freud thing going on, and at the same time there's a guy called Jung, Carl Jung. Yeah. But the whole of science discredited Carl Jung, or ignored him, and brought forward Freud's ideas.
Yeah.
So we live in a world kind of inherited by Freud's ideas. Lots of psychoanalysis, lots of breaking everything down into boxes and trying to cure stuff.
Yeah.
Where if you read anything about Jung, it's all about what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Finding that peace in nature.
It's awesome. It makes me feel like we made a mistake in having houses and cars and stuff.
Yeah, well...
It feels great being in nature.
I think, well, especially how expensive everything is now.
Yeah.
Like, I get in my car and fucking fuel again. It's draining. The thing is, for me, when you said, how does it aid your recovery? I've always done it. So I've always walked and I've always been out on the bike. But the difference is, and the difference with me was, Saturday gone, Easter Saturday, I had a bike ride planned with a lad from work, and we were going to do a good ride through East Cleveland, and it's brutal. Yeah. East Cleveland, when you're in the car, it's like, oh, this is all right on your bike. Like, even going through Loftus.
Oh, like Loftus,
trying to get the co-op at Loftus just for a drink, it's like fucking chaos. You're like, oh, wait. Shit in the bed. But I went to my sister's on Friday. We had a barbecue and the kids were there. I got accidentally drunk. Well, my brother-in-law was like, do you want a rum and ginger beer? I was like, yeah, go on then. Walking home, I was like, shouldn't have had them. Saturday morning, I got up, I went to my daughter's footy match, and I thought, I can't be arsed going on this bike ride. But I did it. And we went Kildale, Commondale, Castleton, Danby.
Nice.
Across to East Cleveland.
That's a trek, innit?
So I ended up doing 56-mile ride. Jesus. And do you know what? I got back and thought, well, it was about 4,000 feet climbing, which is what it is, but...
For reference, that's... Oh, no, never mind. That's about Ben Nevis. It's 1,300 metres, that's the height of Ben Nevis.
But 3 or 4 months ago... I'd have said, oh, look, I've got a hangover, I can't go. The next morning, so I went to bed early that night because I was knackered from the bike ride and some plans that I had went to shit. And do you know what? I got up the next morning, did another 30 mile.
Nice.
Spent it on my legs. And I think it's hard. And I always say on my little videos that I do on Instagram, like, you've got to get out, you've got to do, and it is hard. But once you're out.
Yeah.
And that's it.
For me, it was always that... just all I had to do was put my shorts on. That's all, because then I knew I was going out. Or just take that, once my hand was on the door handle to get out of the flat or the house, that was it. And that's always kind of been my thing, just daft enough to start and stubborn enough to finish. All you've got to do is, once you've started, all you've got to do is finish then. The starting's the hardest bit.
So, going back to your, and we'll wrap this up in a minute, but going back to your 15 challenges this year, I think people can apply that to... Like, I try and do 5 little things a day.
Yeah.
And I think, I hope you hit your 15.
Oh, me too. It's all relative as well, so I do what you do. So when you're really depressed, things go to shit, so your house ends up being a shithole. You don't take care of yourself as much. So I started setting myself little challenges of, before you get out of bed, listen to a song you like. Don't go on your phone and scroll Facebook. Listen to a song you like.
Well, you know what I've done with that? I've set my alarm...
to music you enjoy.
Spotify my playlist. So it's a random song. So this morning, I woke up to Ain't Nothing But a G Thing, Dr. Dre off the Chronic album. But I was like,
set for the day.
Big Dr. Dre. Boom.
What a great one.
Yeah, but I don't choose what I wake up to.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I know my Spotify playlist
is everything you enjoy.
Is everything I enjoy.
That's great. Yeah, the other things for me were things like brushing my teeth. Like daft things that goes to shit. All your personal hygiene. Get up, listen to a song I like, open the curtains and the windows to get air in the room, make my bed, brush my teeth. So all those little things, even though I'm setting these big challenges, those little things were the hardest things to overcome to start with.
I always think about curtains. If you don't open them, you're not letting the world in.
I like that.
And I always think with curtains in my bedroom, I always think, my neighbours must be looking at me and thinking, you lazy bastard. Or... Really?
Yeah.
And I think when your curtains are open, and it's not about other people's perceptions or opinions, but to yourself you think, well, actually, hang on, I'm up and about. I'm up and about.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And I think it's and it is and you can go on about mental health and go on. You should be doing this. You should go and get help. It's a little tiny thing.
Of course it is. Yeah, absolutely it is.
Because I think moving on that since and we can talk about COVID because Mr. fucking Burrowman can, Richie Andrew,
Nonsense.
Mr. Wellbeing Network. Oh, let's set up this crew who can't be asked coming today. He's made excuses in the lakes. 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Ridiculous
I
behaviour.
live in Newmask. That's half an hour away. You know what I mean?
It is on your bike.
Yeah.
Up and down. But, you know, and we can talk about COVID because Richie's not here. Because he'll go all David Icke on us.
Yeah.
But I do think what I've noticed, there's been a big shift with the talking of mental health around since when COVID, everyone's locked in the flat and poor people, mental health, great. Now it's seemingly over and Boris is fucked up with his parties and Ukraine's happening and whatever else is going on in the world, it kind of doesn't get talked about much anymore.
I agree,
and I think there's people getting left by the wayside now, and I don't like it.
No.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think it's only now that the after effects start kicking in or start to be noticeable with everybody. Like I've noticed my motivation. It's like 2 years of lockdown has knocked out of me the go to work every day, full-time job kind of mentality.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people,
and I'm struggling to get it back.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I just can't. Where's the motivation gone? And it's like, this is serious, because I'm thinking, I don't care anymore.
I can't be arsed.
Can't be bothered.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of work from home 2 days a week, and I kind of do this.
And it's got disastrous consequences, as we were talking about our pension pots.
Yeah.
You know.
Like when I was saying I lived in London, and I lived on my own for 3-4 years, whatever. Like, so all my family and friends up north. I didn't make friends when I was down there, really, just my colleagues. Isolation is really weird things to you. So, like, if everyone else is behind closed doors for 2 straight years, where it's been over COVID, it's terrible for your mental health.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, again, Dr. Jones, the infamous Dr. Jones, was saying she read an experiment where they took normal, active people like us and just said, look, go about your lives, but don't exercise. Stop exercising for 2 weeks. And depression kicked in.
Yeah.
Just the fact they weren't moving around and weren't exercising and weren't getting out, depression kicked in and they turned into depressed people.
Yeah.
So, fuck, if you get 2 years of that,
I just feel that the narrative of mental health, I think a lot of them, I'm not going Rich Andrew on us here, but the mainstream media do ignore it a lot, and if it's in the news, the highlight, and I think you're right. And when I was at the wellbeing nurse from work rang me last summer at the height of everything that was going on with me, and she said to me, I'm not worried about you now, I'm worried about you at Christmas.
Yeah.
And that came to fruition with me.
Yeah.
Because she said, when all this dies down and the shock hits you, and that's what I'm worried about, and ultimately that is what happened. But
who was that said that to you?
the wellbeing nurse.
How switched on is she?
She just said, look, she said, obviously I'm concerned about your well-being now, but she said my massive concern is when all this dies down. And it's the same with COVID and this talk of mental health, and people now are back out and about, but what people don't remember, like, I'm struggling financially now massively on my own, really struggling, but people, it needs to just keep going, and that's why the likes of us and whoever listen, if 25 people listen to this, you know, there are still things going on to support people, and I think that's 100%. An important message.
Yeah, and I think there's 2 ways to look at it. It could either be that people are out and about and they're distracting themselves and they're living their lives, so they don't need to talk about it anymore. But the cynical thing for me would be like all the celebrities. It was the cause of the day for so long. All the celebrities jumped on mental health. Like, and now
but you had the likes of that. He made a song that I like. Not Sam Fender.
Oh.
Sam Smith.
All right. Oh, I love his stuff.
What, did you see him in lockdown when he was crying?
No.
I can't cope. He's in this big mass. He got absolute pelters.
Yeah.
And I think Lewis Hamilton's the same when he's posting pictures of himself on a jet ski in Monaco, going, nice to get out of the house. fucking nice one, mate. There's
Yeah,
people
bet it
living in
is.
Fleet House
Exactly, yeah.
in a 35-foot with 5 kids who can't cope with life.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
I think people just need to check themselves sometimes and think, actually,
Yeah.
am I being a knobhead here? Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And but that's and I get the jumping on the mental health bandwagon, but it's gone a bit. And I just think that with the sadness that's going on in Ukraine, which is horrendous, I'm not getting into, but everything else that's going on, the cost of living, people are still massively struggling. And coming out of COVID, just on that point of you like struggling, I'm heavily involved in grassroots football, as you know, and I watch kids now, and like my daughter made a video last week about something, and I didn't realise she did a video. She just wants to play for England, girls. She wants to play football for England. That's all she wants to do, and she's a decent player. But she did it was a Coldplay song, and it was pictures of herself when she was younger playing, and then she put pictures of herself injured with a pot on and a knee and her dreams and all of that. And I thought, we have to realise what COVID's doing.
Oh, yeah.
To kids. And like, my kids are not the best behaved at school. They're not horrendous. They're not. They just don't like it, and at times they can't be bothered. And I resonate with that because I was the same at school. But I'm trying to teach them other ways. But sometimes I check myself and think, they've had such a messed up 2 years at school.
Oh, what? Absolutely.
And I don't blame them for not being asked. Like, you can't be asked potentially going to work for 5 days a week. Do you think a kid can be asked going to school after they've had 6 months of sat at home?
The other thing about that is as well,
it's mental, isn't it?
Kids are never not going to speak to their mates. They're never not just going to.
Not now because of phones.
That's what I'm saying. So they're never not going to speak to their mates. Yeah. So they had to communicate exclusively through Facebook and Twitter and stuff for 2 years. That's fucked up for a kid. Like,
it is fucked up.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I think as well that the education system doesn't and will not and cannot allow for it. So if you're not in school, you won't be put into the exams. So all the kids who've decided not to go to school anymore because they can't be bothered, because of whatever reason, they get pushed through a routine, which is all you have to do is your maths and your English. We might even get you a tutor at home, because I've seen it through working with a teaching agency.
I used to be a maths tutor,
Right. Yet they may be the most intelligent people in that bracket because they've seen it for what it is. But they're not being served.
Yeah, well,
educationally, or
it's a slight aside. When I was a maths tutor, the only people that got my attention were the people that needed to go from a D to a C or from an A to an A start and look good for the Ofcom results.
Yeah.
No one who was an E to an F or whatever, or a D, a C to a B or a B to an A, no one else got any attention. But sorry, more to my point, I think, even though I think a lot of people were jumping on the mental health bandwagon, there's some people that it's absolutely their reason for being. People like Sam Fender, people like Tyson Fury, people like Johnny E. Wilkinson, the rugby player.
Yeah.
Those people, they mean it, and they're still talking about it now. That's huge.
Well, on about Tyson Fury, so there's a thing on Instagram called @AllOnTheBoard, and it's lads in London who work on the underground who write on the boards every day. And I've seen this morning, and after Tyson Fury last night, I'm going to read it out because I think it's quite good. So it's on the board.
Yeah.
Picture Tyson Fury. Says, spread the word on mental health so people feel less alone. And in the future they will know where to go and what to do. If mental health issues can bring a world heavyweight champion to their knees, they can do the same to everyone else too. We can all fight back from thinking suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety. Anything is possible with the right mindset, and if we work together, anything can be done. Life is short, and it's a blessing. Every day shouldn't be a grey day that constantly leaves us stressing. When the storm passes, it's time to appreciate every single moment of a rose, coloured day and shine in the sun. You can have everything in life and still feel worthless and useless on a daily basis because no one can see inside the mind. You are not a weak person. You're not a letdown. You're not a failure. Mental health issues are illnesses and silent killers that you'll battle with. So take it easy and always be kind. Talking is the key to everything, and it's not attention seeking. We all need someone to talk to. Something needs to happen as soon as possible if you feel out of control and as if you're going mad. It only takes a second to send a text to a loved one to ask them how they really are, because people can disguise how they feel by acting happily and smiley, while inside they're hurting so bad. Every step you take will get you closer to where you should really be. During your recovery, just keep moving forwards and hold your head high as you're going through hell. If you get knocked down, you will find the strength to get back up again. And whatever round you're in, you won't need to throw in the towel or wait to be saved by the bell.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
And for me, I read that this morning and thought, brilliant, because I'm not gonna go on too much about Tyson Fury, but I think from someone who was struggled so bad with his mental health, to be doing what he's doing now in relation to boxing, and I think I'm not really into boxing. I'm not a boxing fanatic, but I think what he is doing is massively inspirational. I think what they're doing are all on the board with the London Underground.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, they're beauty, aren't they?
And thinking about the Tyson, I won't go on about Tyson Fury as well, because I could talk about
you love him.
The some of his bits.
Get with him.
Big one on my back, I might shave my head bald and get his face tat on the back of my head.
Beauty.
But yeah, he seemingly doesn't feel pressure. You see him in interviews, he doesn't care, he's just breezing through. So what demons was he struggling with? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
to not care now.
Not care about life, but I mean, he doesn't care about the pressure. He'll get up in front of 90,000 people without a care in the world and just go about his day. He seemingly doesn't feel like that kind of pressure.
Yeah, because I think what he's done is he's seen how dark it can get and
Yeah.
think, well, actually...
That's a good point, yeah.
It's like me at Christmas, right? I know what I was feeling at Christmas. I know how bad I was. I know now that things like today, things like watching my daughter playing football this morning, just seeing my son in the car, they're telling me how he smashed some lad and a parent had to go at him, and he sat going on about it thinking he's Dickie Rock.
Who's Dickie Rock?
I don't know. I just
it's just a hard man name.
Just a bit rock hard. But I think when you are like Tyson Fury there, I think when you've been that down, I know now from my own experience that, do you know what, everything moving forward isn't that bad.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So standing in front of 90,000 people, sitting on a throne to set on fire, and then run into a ring with that much admiration.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's not bad. So, Aaron, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
So we're joined by Aaron, who is the events manager of Playbrew.
Events manager.
Events manager of Playbrew.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a real title, isn't it?
It is. And I know me and you spoke before.
Yeah. Met a couple of times.
Firstly, thank you for having us.
No problem. Thanks for coming down. Honestly, it's it's just nice to finally see it, what it looks like, and sort of see the setup and get a feel for it.
Good.
And understand what we can do, I guess, and hopefully do more.
Well, I know me and you've spoken in the past, and I know it's gone a bit by the wayside because life gets in the way, but obviously Off the Ground Coffee are here.
Yep.
They're doing a thing which we're going to speak to. Is it Dan? Dan,
yeah, he's doing the Edinburgh run, yeah.
What is it? And I know you're keen to do more of this, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%,
So
yeah.
what is it you're wanting?
What from this specific sort of event is just to give people that opportunity to be social. And when I started doing dog socials, one thing I realised is, you were getting people that either don't know each other, who have that mutual thing of they have dogs, right? It's such a simple thing. Sitting with each other and then even briefly just getting to know each other. And, literally the definition of being social.
Yeah.
But being able to use that platform as, whether it's to highlight the importance of mental health. Next month I'm considering, this isn't definitely it, but I'm considering doing like a market day, which, in a different sense would be highlighting other local businesses and,
Brilliant.
I love that.
Yeah, just like creating like a community. And obviously my job is to be the events manager. I'd like to do it every day with every event. But the dog social is the one where there's no pressure on people. You don't have to buy tickets. You can turn up any point between 1 and 6 o'clock. Whether there's markets here, whether it's you guys talking to people, whether it's Off the Ground Coffee. The dog socials, I want to do something different every month that, we can use our platform, whether it's our social media platform, just to tag people and get followers, or the actual platform of the event itself to bring people in to, whether it's buying clothes, whether it's finding out who you guys are, and maybe going home and listening to you, and being, whether it's inspired by it to do whatever, or to just talk a bit more or whatever. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm getting at really, but I think...
Well, it just fits into something we were talking about, because we've been talking about, I was saying that since COVID's gone away, that the mainstream media and press have stopped talking about mental health as such.
Yeah.
But I suppose there's people who were locked down for a long time and were generally concerned about COVID, who were a bit wary about coming out. But I think events like a doggy social, because when I go walking up the hills, right, I'm a bit ignorant. I can't be arsed talking to people. I just want to go. But then, because I've got a dog who's a puppy,
there's always people that want to talk.
Look at your dog, and dogs do, and it naturally brings people, and it's a conversational topic.
Yeah,
and I think it's brilliant.
And it's that, you know, when I came up with the idea for this specific month, I mean, a few things didn't work out. You know, the whole premise of like dogs are a man's best friend, right? And like, you know, if you guys are here and you guys are talking about men's mental health, and you've got Dan doing the run in Edinburgh and he's raising money for Mind, it just all seems to fit in. And even if there might be people here who didn't know that this was happening, it at least starts that conversation. And
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and like that's one of the most important parts of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
whether you're struggling yourself, or you know someone that's struggling, or you don't know that someone's struggling, starting that conversation in any context, let alone a simple context of being at a dog social, a no pressure situation with a pint in your hand, the easiest place to say something to your friends.
I agree.
Even subtly.
There's something I've learned this week, and it's to do with trauma, and it's to do with getting on with people, it's to do with mental health.
Yeah.
So the pills don't work. A lot of therapy is good, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't work that well. What is the most recommended thing to do is actually have peer conversations with each other about the topic that you're suffering from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing you can do. Mm-hmm. Is just finding people like us, you, whoever, to just pick up that pint or pick up a drink, chill out.
And that's the crazy thing, isn't it? And you know, like I said, I do tons of events here, and if it was up to me, every time we did an event, people would talk, you know, whether it's really serious, whether they're just having a laugh, people would always socialise. And the whole reason I do events is because I'm such a social person, and I love being around people. I love knowing that I've added to someone's day in any way.
Sure,
But obviously a lot of events I do are like gigs and stuff where you're not really in that situation, are you? You can't exactly stand near someone and go,
gigs.
We've been talking about it, and Matt was saying that the podcast, we could be all serious and foreboding and literal about everything, but when it's just a few lads acting like dickheads talking about how they really feel about mental health, that kind of thing's really important. So I think in this setting especially, just lads talking with a pint, it's spot on.
I do, and when I've done talks on first aid mental health courses, and the Borough Man Can thing fits well with me, because I class myself as a Middlesbrough lad, and I'm just a normal lad. And when I talk, on the last one I did, people said, well, you weren't there long enough. I had feedback saying, well, why wasn't he there for an hour? Why wasn't he there for 2? Because we wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
And I think what that did is it opened up a conversation.
Yeah.
And the lads in the room were like, and I had a few really nice messages on Instagram, just like, oh, look, mate, I didn't want to say anything in there, but I'm struggling, and stuff like that. And that's lovely. And I think,
well, it fits in with the Borough Man Can research. So men can talk, men find it easy to talk. You just got to have the right environment.
For sure.
Or
That's
create
it,
the right atmosphere.
Yeah. My proudest moment in doing this whole thing was, like I said, my group in New Mask and Redcar did it. Like, the only way I know how to help people is to get people talking, show people it's okay. So I'll just get up and talk about my trauma or that kind of crap, and then let people know it's okay to talk.
all that kind of.
Well, you know what I mean? I don't want to be like, my trauma. Like, that's got its setting, and of course, when it's serious, you need to talk about it. But get up and talk about the shitty things that happened to me, how it affected me, how I feel, being close to the edge, all that kind of stuff. And then I found out from a mate a few days later that one of the guys that was at that talk opened up to him. He's like, just so you know, that lad that was there, he came and said, just so you know, mate, I'm really not doing very well. Like, that means so much. That means more than any podcast or award or any of that kind of crap.
I mean, I know I bare my soul on Instagram, and do my videos, and sometimes when I do my videos, I think I'm not putting that out. I look like a right knobber.
But you're not, like, like, someone has to, though, right?
But
do you know what I mean? Otherwise, no one, even if that makes someone go, oh, have you seen this idiot? At least they're having a conversation about it.
A lad in Doncaster on Instagram who I don't know, he messaged me personally and he said, I've been to a man's group tonight and I've spoke out.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
And he said, and your video, and I sat, I welled up. I thought,
for sure.
Like,
it's
really?
Because he'll have heard someone say words that he's probably thought.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And how many times do you want to say something and not say it, but then if someone else says it, you know, it's that very childish thing, isn't it? Of like, you don't know what words are swear words, for example, and you hear someone say a word that you've never said before, and you've never spoken out loud before, you've never heard yourself say it. As a kid, generally, you say the word, don't you? You push your luck.
I find it really bittersweet. Like, obviously, it's not nice that somebody's going through that, but I find when someone opens up and messages me, I get so overwhelmed with happiness, because it's like that first bit is the hardest bit. That first reaching out to a doctor or to someone, he's done it. He's done the hardest bit. Like, awesome. Yeah. So moving forward, just with Playbrew, I know I've spoke to Richie, who can't be asked being here today because I'm sick of Richie.
The pioneer of Borough.
He's like General Custer, isn't he?
I'm looking after a house in the lakes.
There's the battle. Go and run over there.
Yeah, funny. I think moving forward, I think there's a lot we can do together.
No, 100%.
We've talked about doing the walk, and then John, you said as well, why don't we record that walk so you can record people chatting? And
always say to people who take any sort of interest in my events, whether you're a punter, whether you're, you know, guys like you who are looking actively for you know, somewhere to be and some like a reason to do what you do, that if you ever see something that I'm doing, and this goes for everyone, like if it's you guys, or like I say, just someone in the audience at a quiz night, for example, if they go, he could be doing this, or I could get involved this way, like, I'm so open to that.
Yeah, for sure.
And cool. You know, if you guys literally see something that I've already announced and the full thing's already out there, it looks amazing, and you guys go, we could
jump
do
on the back of that.
Yeah, we could do something.
I've got a world-beating genius idea, by the way, that I didn't steal from other groups at all.
It's not getting hooked on the back, is it?
No, that's just for me, that one. Just for me and the girl. So this is groups around me. I'll always give credit to the other groups. So there's two. There's the Link Charitable Trust and Walk and Talk. Gareth Howe.
Yeah.
Yep. Great groups. And in our area, they put out beer mats. They bought a load of beer mats and took them to pubs. There you go. So with like the Walk and Talk logo on, a little quote would be. I don't think they did that, but put a little nice quote on, like a Tyson Fury on the board thing. Just take them out pubs in Borough, like,
and distribute
them, because then you know it's going to get to the exact people that aren't going to talk to anybody.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Is in terms of like marketing mental health, it's a weird sentence, that, isn't it? Like marketing the fact that, you know, what do you put in front of people that directs them to the right places? And a couple of years ago, pre-lockdown, I plan a festival every year called Healerpalooza, and the last one I was working with my friend who runs One More Life in Stockton. And our plan to work together was he was going to come up with these quotes and these images, not like nothing too harsh, obviously, but like that catch your eye. And then the whole premise of that was, it says, you know, if you're not having a good time at this gig, if you don't feel safe, because obviously at a festival it's a full day thing. I've been to a lot myself, and sometimes things don't go as planned. You know, you might, to be absolutely brutal about it, you could, you know, you might break up with someone that day, you might go some other day before, and you're just drinking too much. It's a full day thing. So if there's posters saying in the guys' toilets in the right places, or on beer mats where it says, if you're not having the best time, specifically today or in general, know that you can contact these numbers. Or
for sure, Which festivals do you go to?
Generally, in the last couple of years, none. But I generally like to do the local smaller ones, just because they inspire what I do. Because I'm such a small scale. I like sort of feeling like I'm feeding the community a little bit.
For sure,
so like Stockton Collins is always a good one, isn't it? Twisterella is probably my favourite small festival.
I don't think I've ever been to that one.
Never been to Twisterella?
No.
Oh, it's it happens at like Teesside SU, and it's like October time as well, so it's not the obvious peak time. But
we used to talk about the heyday of Middlesbrough Music Live before health and safety and security, when you could be 13, 14 and walk in with a case of beer and no one would stop you. It was reckless.
They were the days that made me want to do what I do. Do you know what I mean? Just being like, hang on, people are making a living off this. You know, people are doing this, and people are creating all this fun and all this atmosphere, and going home and feeding the family at night. This is amazing.
I remember that was like a big eye opener for me. I'd never been to a proper festival before, Middlesbrough Music Live. And you know Ocean Colour Sea? Great band, love Ocean Colour Sea. I always loved them when I was like 15, 16. Got down the front, first chord, plang, riot kicked off. It was all just like Borough fans, big Borough fans, just knocking lumps off each other. I was like, I've got to go home now. It was only a pain.
Well, I've just heard that you like to see people doing stuff that you do. So we're sat in here and I'm looking at all this brewery equipment. So you're doing something right. So, not to put you on the spot, so we don't need to know the content, but when maybe in the past you've had lower moments, not that we need to know what they are, but how have you got over it?
I mean, I could give a perfect example. That's just happened this week. I had a gig cancelled on Monday with a band coming from America, and the tickets just didn't sell. and it, it just wasn't worth it for any of the parties involved. And I beat myself up viciously, especially that day. Just like, oh my God, I'm going to quit doing what I'm doing. I need to look for another job. If I can't sell that, I can't sell anything. I can't do anything. But then, it comes to Thursday and I'm running a quiz night and you've got 60 people.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like there's always something next. And I think that's the most important thing for me personally, is that there's always tomorrow. And even if in the moment I forget that, like I say, like on Monday I was ready to just phone Phil and just be like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not your guy. I'm not your guy. But then you come in on Thursday and I see Phil and he's like, Aaron, you're the guy. Do you know? And it's like, I don't always need pats on the back. I just need to know that the next thing I do, I've learned from my mistakes. And I've been doing it for 12 years now. I've been a promoter for 12 years. Since I come out of school, I've been promoting and I'm still doing it, and it's all I want to do. And even in those moments of going, I should just do something else, I should give up, I don't know what else I would do. I have no idea. I don't know anything else. I'm not even trained to do this. I taught myself.
Have there been any moments in that where you've like, it's not specific on mental health now, but where you've booked a band, you're like, I can't fucking believe I got to book that band?
Yeah, I mean, the one that got cancelled, believe it or not.
Right.
Yeah, so there's that.
Just kick him in the teeth for Harry.
But it's a thing now. So like, I was at a gig last night, and so many people were asking about the gig anyway, and I was like, on Monday, if you asked me about it, I'd have just went, shut up, don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But then to be able to be open and talk to people about it and be honest, and not, I know a lot of promoters who'd be like, things didn't work out. Be honest about the fact that tickets didn't sell.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I know my job. I know how to sell tickets. I know how to make posters look nice, and I know how to get people interested and stuff. They were called Weekend Friends, like Weekend as in like.
Oh, right, yeah.
So they're from America and they're like an emo pop punk thing.
Yeah.
Which we've got a bit of a following for anyway, because we've had a couple of tribute bands, and had big audiences in. So I was so confident and. Obviously riding that confidence and speaking to this new agent that I've never spoken to, who's such a good name in the industry, to then it not work out and feel like the pressure of the world sort of claps around you. To realise that, in a couple of weeks I'll have a band that no one's heard of and it'll sell out. And it's
that's
like,
awesome.
it's bizarre that, that's just the job that I've accepted.
Oh, that's really cool.
Sort of realising, go back to the question of, how do you get past that? That's it. You
don't beat yourself up.
You don't beat yourself up, or you naturally.
It's not your fault, though, is it?
No, exactly. As human beings, you might spend 5 minutes beating yourself up, even if you try your hardest not to. The way I get through it is remembering that I've got the next thing.
Yeah.
Like the next thing, I've got a Palooza, my festival's happening in a few months. So, like, literally spending time designing that poster and making it better.
Yeah.
And going, well, this is going to sell. And in a few months, no one's going to be talking about this gig that's just been cancelled. People are going to be talking about the festival.
Really cool. I think I missed the whole emo thing.
We're doing a live band emo karaoke.
Nice.
Here in September.
My missus is
Dan the coffee guy's the drummer. Actually.
My missus is going to the When We Were Young festival in
Las
America, Vegas. It's
wow.
all like Avril Lavigne, Bring Me the Horizon.
I can't believe it's real.
I'm still stuck in 1995 now.
Happy Mondays.
Yep.
Yeah. Oasis.
I've got like a weird taste in that. I love anything 90s, image-wise, like TV show-wise. Like Seinfeld's my favourite TV show, and it's not like an irony thing. Like I know a lot of people are just like, that's quirky for them to like that. But
tremendously well written. Seinfeld's incredible.
Yeah, it's genuinely what I've always liked in wrestling. I'm a massive wrestling fan, but I still watch 90s wrestling religiously.
I got turned off a wrestling.
Matt's trashing the place. He's kicking off. He heard wrestling and he started throwing weapons.
I was just going to say, I got turned off of wrestling after the health and safety came in.
Yeah.
When it was Mankind getting flung off the top of cages and
that
the
was
Hardy
the 90s,
Boys.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm addicted to that
Unreal.
time period.
And what was the one? Brock Lesnar trying to do a moonsault and land on his forehead on WrestleMania 19, I think it was.
Yeah, breaking his neck and doing it,
Yeah.
Aaron,
yes.
wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
No worries.
I could see enjoy no, because it's just we're obviously on a bit of a time thing, but thank you for having us.
No, it's fine.
I think
could
there's
talk
going to be
forever.
a lot of future events with us, and that we'll keep in touch. And like I say, we'll keep going with it. And I know John, you were a bit adverse to pubs, and you came in and went, "Oh, I love it."
Yeah, you've got space, you've got a warehouse feel, you've got someone doing it for themselves.
Yeah.
I'm in the back end of an industrial estate, which I love the industrial thing. And I don't feel threatened by.
Yeah.
There's no pretense, it just feels like a chill
what a
place.
pub looks like, or what. I didn't want to walk in and smell alcohol and sticky carpets.
In a brewery.
Yeah.
Well, this is when Phil brought me in as the events guy. He's sort of like me wondering what do I want this place to be. I will wrap it up. Sorry, this is the last thing I'll say. And then realising that what I actually want it to be is I want it to be the place that I would go to. If this is my Sunday, if I'm going to a quiz night on a Thursday, if I'm going to a gig, no matter how bizarre the event might be or how normal the event might be, I will base it around what I want to be at, which just sounds like quite selfish.
No, not at all.
Obviously, I still put songs in the playlist that I don't like because I know people
Yeah,
like
man.
them, that sort of thing. But I'd still want to be here if that song's on, and I know what I want a Dog Social to look like. I know that I want Off the Ground to be here as an alternative to the beer. I know that I'd like to be at a venue and see people like you in the corner doing a podcast and maybe getting involved or whatever.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the last thing.
Well, thank you very much.
No, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for having
Appreciate
us.
it.
No worries.
Well,
All right.
stand up, mate.
Take care, pal. Thank you.
I've already done stand-up nights.
It's none of that. You can swear, do what you want.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. Sound good.
So now we're joined by Dan from Off the Ground.
Hello,
How
you
we
alright?
doing?
I'm good, mate, yeah.
Good.
Thank you, how are you?
I'm good, all right.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Aaron asked us to come down today because obviously you are down here selling your lovely coffee and cakes.
Yep,
And you are doing the Edinburgh Marathon
it's correct, yeah.
on behalf of Mind Charity.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us more about that?
I am doing it, I got back into running a few years ago for health. Little competition we had at work, funnily enough, who could run the most, who could lose the most weight, which obviously I won.
Is that because of
Obviously.
competitiveness? Or?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
okay.
just being stubborn, yeah.
Beauty.
And it was at that point I thought, I was getting back into it, just felt like a bit of a challenge. I felt like I'd done a couple of half marathons before. I thought I've probably got a marathon in me, I think. And it just made sense. Why not do it for charity? And one that always comes to the forefront for me is Mind.
Yeah.
Ever since 2018, I lost a really good friend to suicide. And it just seems like the one, it's got the biggest place in my heart at the moment to try and help other people and stop anyone else from going
If you don't
through
mind me
that.
asking, how old are you?
34.
And you decided to do a marathon?
That's one of my challenges.
Hats off, man.
Half marathon. Not a marathon, I'm too big
Hats
for
off
that.
to you.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
Rory's been telling us about 15 challenges he set himself this year, but I think if you set yourself a goal like, I don't know, Richie does the Ironman and stuff,
Yeah.
to do a marathon or an Ironman is commendable, and I think hats off to you.
I think the challenge here has been I was meant to do it in 2020. So
COVID, put
I
it
started
back
my
and back.
training in February 2020 and I got about halfway through and was doing okay, and then it got postponed initially to from the May to September 2020.
Yeah.
So I stopped training and then I started again, and at that point that's when obviously the lockdown started, and I didn't go into work for 4 months, so all I had the time to do was train, and I was in the best shape of my life. And the annoying thing is, if it had
So
gone
in
ahead
lockdown, you were in the best shape of your life?
Oh, yeah.
I was in my worst.
it was,
I
everyone
a
was
right
one or
fat
the other,
bastard.
weren't they?
I put
But
loads of weight on.
I never went walking until lockdown. And then
Fucking went ballooned.
Alright, I used to go to the gym all the time. I was never like an Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I used to like going to the gym. So that finished, and I learned the only thing I'd do to entertain myself was to make cakes. Do you know what I mean? I've got
Make cakes and drink.
I was saying to my girlfriend, my fiance, bake off son, let's try and make a cake. But if you don't exercise and all you do is eat fucking ganache and shit, like, yeah, balloon up.
But hats off to you, man.
For sure, yeah.
If it had gone ahead in September 2020, I'd have not only done it, I know I'd have done it, I'd have done really well, I'd have got a good time,
And,
like a really good
and has
time.
that been a problem for you, motivation-wise?
So, well, the difference being now, I have another child and back at work full time, so there's a lot more commitments to fit the training around.
Kids, man.
Last time it
Why?
was just like,
Why do we
get
do
up
it?
and run.
I've got why on earth, man. To ruin your training.
It's selfish.
Yeah,
Selfish.
it's very rewarding, but it's no good for your training.
No, it's good though, and I think with things like today where you've got a little bucket and stuff like that. So at Off the Ground, I know you do a lot of events, don't you?
Yeah.
And you're focused somewhat on mental health at
We're
times.
a social enterprise, and one of the things we started off doing from the get-go with the business was having a weekly, like a soup night where homeless people could come in and get
Brilliant.
a meal.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
We did that up until shortly before the pandemic, I think. But although we don't do that currently, it obviously got really complicated over 2020. But we're still committed to doing better in the community, and working with something. So
well, I hear
mental
nothing
health
but good things about you, because my sister's
it's good
Elizabeth's
to hear.
Kitchen and Barefoot Kitchen.
Right, okay, yeah. Yeah,
being off the
she's
ground? Have you
incredible,
been
yeah.
off the ground? Aaron Catherine, have you been
I
off
love
the
it. It's
ground?
behind McDonald's, isn't it? Or just around the corner
It's
from McDonald's.
yes, yeah.
It's awesome.
Next door.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool. We used to go in all the time.
Yeah.
He just pulled him up because he sat here.
Well, yeah.
And why don't you come in anymore?
Well, it's too big. No,
So what's today give you then a play brew? What's today offered you just a chance to branch out a bit?
I mean, yeah. Other than the opportunity,
I find it really like this is a brewery and people come for a pint.
Yeah.
But you walk in and get coffee.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love that.
I love that, and I
Yeah.
think although in Swatters you can get a little coffee, but
All
I
you
think
can
to
drink,
have
yeah.
an independent business.
I don't feel like a stranger asking for some water with my own tea bag.
Well, he's
I mean,
never
that's
brought
not
it
very
over, did he?
strange.
Didn't bring it over.
Yeah. But no, I don't drink much. I do drink, but it's not like a conscious decision. I just don't drink much. But yeah, having a coffee, great. It's awesome.
well, you see a lot of people, like couples or groups, will come and somebody's driving.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're buzzing because they can get a nice coffee.
It's awesome.
But for me, other than the opportunity today to come and like talk to you guys and promote what I'm doing a little bit, there's just I love Player, our friends. Like I deal a lot with them. We sell beer as well, so I buy a lot of beer from them. We sell it over there. Some of these guys I've known since college. I've known
nice.
a long time. So I just love that thing of two local businesses working
I think
together,
it's brilliant.
and just come down and have a chat with these guys and have a pint while I'm working.
Yeah.
Well,
It's great,
have a pint, man. Yeah, have a pint. It's good stuff. So, is there anywhere where people have you got a Just Giving page for you?
Yes, yeah.
Go on then, promote
Where's
it,
the
man.
link? It's justgiving.com. It's Aaron's written out for me over there. I want to check it, but I did set up. I think off the top of my head, it's justgiving.com/Dan runs loads.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get it on the website and we'll
Yeah,
get it up. We'll get it off you and
Put
we'll
it in
get
the
it
show
on.
notes. Yeah.
But good. So the marathon itself, you're doing it for a brilliant cause, and I suppose some motivation to keep. If I had a marathon booked and it was cancelled for 2 years,
Your motivation
yeah.
does suffer.
I'm
a
not
lot,
doing that.
yeah, but like straight off the bat, I got loads of donations. I was a bit overwhelmed with what came through to start off with, and then yesterday I'll post, not all the time, but like I did quite a big run, the second biggest run I do as part of the training yesterday, and I thought I'll post a little screenshot of that on Instagram. That was an 18 miler. It was quite a challenge, but off the back of that, somebody donated £250.
no way.
Nice, man.
And it's when you read that, you're like, well, I've got to
I've
do
put
it now.
£2 in your bucket.
I've really got to do
I
it
feel
now.
bad now.
I feel chintzy as hell.
I feel bad now.
Right, Chisler.
No, you do, and I think for your own health, though, and for your own. So this is predominantly about mental health and
Yeah.
how lads cope in the area. So for you, keeping that training going, and I don't know you from Adam, and if you've never suffered, brilliant. But if you do, has it helped your mental health to keep going in the training? Or
It does, yeah.
Especially in
if
lockdown,
nothing
I
else.
suppose.
So you can imagine running 18 miles. Like you've got a lot
Brutal.
of time there. All you can really do is like
in your own thoughts,
have a little think. Yeah. Put music on, which helps. But like after a certain point,
you shut
you
off the
tune it
music,
out.
don't
You
you?
tune the music out, and you just all you can do is think.
Well, what I do when I
and
bike,
it's nice.
So when I ride, so if say I'm doing 30 miles,
Yeah.
I was doing a lot last year where I was struggling, and what I would do is I'd get my bike and think, right, I need to sort these 3 problems out of my head, and I'd try and it helps you compartmentalise things, I think,
Yeah.
as well, doesn't it? So you deal with one thing, and the next thing you know, you're 25 mile in, you think,
Yeah.
I love
"Fucking
that,
hell,
yeah.
Yeah.
where's that gone?" And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I feel like a right fat so-and-so when anyone says they've done a marathon, I want to ask, do you run the whole way? I can't imagine it. I've got a bum knee and I'm 21 stone. Running anyway it's agony for me.
Take me off to
It's a
anyone.
real learning curve though, and like I'm lucky in a way that it's stopped and restarted a few times, because every time I found a little something that helps.
Yeah.
Whether it be, I used to run years ago and I wouldn't warm up or cool down or
Yeah.
anything, and that's terrible. Like that's really bad. You could really damage your your knees and stuff there. So I make sure I do nice long cool down and everything now. And it's little bits, so that like it's funny really, but like chafe-proof boxes, things like that.
Dude.
Somewhere along the way, somebody told me you need to get them. They're worth every single penny.
I don't run, but I hike a lot. Like,
Chafe,
Yeah.
really?
yeah,
Chafe
loads
proof
and loads.
boxes.
And big fat lad. So I've got loads of that, loads of friction.
Is it them step-ons?
Big thunder thighs, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
definitely need.
I just wear a
them.
base layer, like an Under Armour base layer,
Yeah.
but it's like compression shorts that go down to your knee. Nothing rubs. You're all sealed in.
What about chafing?
Go back to the fetish stuff.
You learn a little bit, and it's embarrassing stuff that people won't talk about, but like plasters over your nipples, that kind of thing. Because they might sound like daft little things, but if that's really hurting you, that can stop you, and you know that. Can really...
and it's mind over matter,
Yeah.
innit? And I know when I'm out on the bike, like I did a big ride last Saturday, and I was climbing a lot, and your mind's just get off the bike, just get off, But I always think, well, hang on, my auntie died of cancer, someone's done this, or someone died of that, and I always think, fuck, it's a fucking hill.
Yeah.
It's a fucking hill.
Yeah.
It's a fucking hill.
You have
and
to
then at the
think-
top
yeah.
you think, actually...
It just becomes literally about endurance in your head mostly after a certain point. If you can do 10k or if you've done half marathon, then you know you've kind of got it in you to do it, and it's just a battle
with your mind.
because your head does just go, just stop running now. And you have to fight that and keep going through.
So one question from me:
Yeah.
if or when you've ever had a tough time yourself, how do you get over it? How have you helped yourself? How have you recovered? What did you do?
A big thing for me, which really, it doesn't sound big, but like, is probably one of my simple pleasures is sitting somewhere and just chilling out with a coffee and a bit of cake. And
You're preaching to the choir.
He bakes, he loves a bro.
Love a bit of cake, man.
ideally not at work, going somewhere else to do that, you know, just to relax. And I think just those little things, just those little bits that make you happy, you need to try and do as many of those kind of things as you can. Maybe just sitting and reading for a bit, which it can be quite tricky with children, and like we've said. But yeah, I just like to get as much of that stuff done as I can to
I like that as well, yeah.
I think it's a big thing, and I think, and I've always thought this, like a lot of lads, especially round here, you think it's quite selfish to just back away from your kids or back away from your missus at times, but do you know what? And I always say this, if you do that, they benefit more.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you don't do that, it causes a stir, and then like I snapped at my kids the other week. I'd had counselling. 2 days later, the kids came and it was a bit chaotic, and I snapped at them, and a couple of hours later I said, kids, come down a minute. I said, look, I shouldn't have done that. I said, but like I've had a bit of a rough week, and I'm quite honest and open, man. And,
That's incredible, though.
but I think a big thing is you got to be and sometimes like you going out for a run, you might not know what it's doing for you, but you don't know what it's doing in the whole dynamics of the house.
Yeah.
Because you coming back is like, actually I'm actually all right here. And I think, going back to Dan's thing of going running, you probably subconsciously don't realise what it does. And the dynamic when you got two, and it's hard with kids and newborns, but good luck with your marathon.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
And I think moving forward we'll do a lot more. And I'd like to do this in off the ground, if I'm honest.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, we'd love to have you. Definitely.
And we'll come
Anytime.
down and we'll get amongst it, and we'll promote things. And
Yeah.
I think because we're trying to promote mental health and not make anything from it. User doing brilliant things, Playbrew doing brilliant things, and I think for Teesside, the local area, there's a lot going on
Definitely.
that is hidden.
Yeah.
And I think we need to push that more and get it out.
Yep.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please
Yeah.
send us your
Good
link
luck.
for your Just
Lovely.
Giving as well, and put it in the website.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks a
All
lot.
right,
I
mate.
really appreciate that.
Take
Thank
care.
you so much,
guys.
Dan. Speak to you soon.
Cheers.
See you later.
Thank you.